There's one word that comes to mind when I think of George Lynch, in particular his lead playing style, and that's inimitable. He has a style that sounds so unique that when you hear a song you've never heard before and he's playing that lead on it, you say, that sounds like George Lynch. And Heaven Sent is a solo that I think represents that more than anything. It is a very odd solo, and I decided to do a lesson on it that, unlike other lessons that I have done and probably will do, where I try and find exactly the note for note and how the person did it, how I think they did it, this is one of those I really don't know. I can show you how I play it after slowing down the track and looking at various things and trying to figure out maybe how he did it. But his style is so unique, and the patterns that he uses, if they are patterns, they're not ones I'm familiar with, or probably many people are, in the sense that even if you look at covers of how people have done this song, most people play it differently. No one does it the exact same way. This is not a solo that's note for note and 100 people can do it and it's all sounds the same thing. You'll always see a different variation of that. I have my variation of it, and that's what I'm going to show you today. And yeah, take what you like from it, and hopefully you learn something. So, standard tuning, that's all you need to know. Let's get into the madness. Okay, part one starts out in the 6th position, and we're using this F sharp minor shape of the 9th on the 5th, the 7th on the 4th, and the 6th on the 3rd. And then we're going to use the 7th, and this going in between the 7th and the 6th there. So it goes back to the 9th, pull off from the 7th to the 6th, and then hit the 7th fret on both the D and the A string. So the first measure is second measure, start out the same way. But here we're going to do on the D and the G string, we're going to do a little slide. 7th on the D, to 6, slide to 4 on the G, then the 6th on the D, 4 to 2 on the G. So that measure is the next measure is going to be the same as the first, with a little change. And we're going to hit the 7th on the A twice. And then for the last measure, we're going to do 9th to 11th on the G string. Do a hammer-on pull-off from those frets. To the 10th on the B. Pull off to the 9th. 11th on the G. Hit the 9th on the G 3 times. So that measure is. So that whole part together is. Okay, so part 2 starts out in the 6th position again. You're going to do on the G string between 6th and 7th fret. Add a little palm mute. You can add a harmonic if you want. Go up to the 14th fret on the G, and we're going to do 14, 15, 16, 14 on the B, 14 on the G, 16, bend up half step and let it off. On the 16th and then back to the 14th. So just up into that point is I need to do, so it's 16 on the G, 16 on the D, 14 on the G, 16, 14, and you're going to skip a string and do the 16th on the A string. Let's just do that whole part together. So the first two measures are okay. For the next measure, we're just going to be bending on the 17th fret of the B string, and we're going to go up between a whole step bend and 2 whole steps bend. So it's going to be like, on the album you can kind of hear I'm catching the G string underneath that bend on the second bend he does. So it'd be like, and then for the next measure, it's going to be pull off from the 17th to the 14th. 17th on the E. Hammer on pull off from the 14th and the 17th. Slide up to the 16th. Pull off from the 17th to the 16th. And slide down to the 12th. So and then you're going to do 14, 12, 14. (15, 14, 15, 14 on the B string. And then 12 on the B string, 14 on the G. You're going to go back and forth between those 4 times. And then bend up. So the whole section, or this whole piece, kind of subsection, together would be it's a tricky one, but those are the notes. Once again, really slowly. So this whole part together is like this. Okay, this is the part where it gets really funky and hard to explain, but I'll do the best I can. So I'm going to start out, most of this is going to be in the 14th position. It's all going to be based on an F sharp minor scale, with a few, as always, there's some variations thrown in there. But that's generally the position you can think of when you're doing this. And right now it's just going to, if you think about this as pentatonic, you're going between the 16th and the 14th. And on the 16th on the D, 14th and 16th on the G. A lot of this stuff's going to be in that rough position with doing classic Lynch slides and stuff like that. But it starts out like this: 16, 14, or 16, 16, 16, 14. You're going to do that twice. And then you're going to do that classic Lynch thing of going from the sliding up from the 16th, 17th, and back to the 16th. Pull off on the 14th, 16th on the D. So it starts out. Then back to the 14th. Bending up a half step on the 16th. Back to the 14th. Back to the 16th on the D. So there's a lot to explain here. Basically, it's gonna sound, I'll do this really slowly. Okay, so we'll play this one more time. Okay, now this is a really cool lick. I'm going to play the notes and show you a few different ways you could play it. First one's pretty easy. I'll let me play it first so you know what it sounds like. So the way I generally play it is like this. I do the 14th on the E, 17th on the G, so you're skipping the B string entirely. 14 on the G, 17 on the G. So 14 on the E, 17 on the G, 14 on the G, 17 on the G. So you do that. He does that twice. And then instead of the 14th on the E, you go to the 13th on the E. 17th on the G again. Then you're going to go 16, 14, 16, 16 on the D. Now I got to think about this. So this. The 14th. And then 16, 13. Back to the 16, 14. And then a screeching harmonic on the 16th. So play that whole little lick as one. Now there's the second part of that. You could play it an alternate way. So again, the first part would be the same. You could do on the E string, kind of this, use your fingers kind of barred off. I'm suspecting this is the way Lynch plays it. Be 13 on the E, 13 on the B. So you're just kind of sliding down your pick and playing those. And then you're kind of barring on the 16th with your middle finger. So you're going between this, you're kind of being able to bar between the G and the D string with your middle finger. If you, instead of using the 17 up there, you replace that with the 13 on the second string. So it'd be like. And my guess is he does it that way. When I first learned this, I did it because I'm used to putting that note there. But as you'll see in upcoming parts, I think he's using that 13th fret on the B for another section as well. So the first half of this whole part, there's a lot of notes here. I'm going to play it really, really slow, would be this. Okay, for the second half of this section, it starts off by what sounds to me sliding up to the 14th on the E, and he's pulling off from the 17th to the 14th on the B. And now here comes a really weird lick, and this is one I really don't know how he's playing this. I'll show you a few different ways that you can do it. The way that I do it is I'm using a pattern where I'm, for this first one, now it varies, but be pulling off from the 17th to the 14th on the E, hitting the 14th on the B, sliding that down to the 13th, and then 16, 14 on the G. Now another way you could do that is do 17, 14, and instead of going down, just skipping the B string altogether and just do 17, 16, 14 on the G. You know, and that works too, and it kind of has a little bit of that crunch like you hear him on the album play. I like doing the slide, but whatever works for you. Those are the first notes I hear. After that first one on the 17th, it sounds to me like he's doing 14, 14, so E and B, 14, and then 16, 14 on the G. So it'd be like, okay, so after those two, he does 3 times a similar pattern to the first one we did, which was the, but this time we're just going to move that 17 down to the 16 and do the same exact pattern. And he does that 3 times. So it would be 1 time like this, then the second time where there's nothing, just, and then 3 times with the 16th fret. So together it would be, and again, and then he's going to do, again, we're going to do in the same position, 14 on the B, 17 on the G, 14 on the G. So those notes he's going to do. And then he ends it with 16 on the D, 14 on the B, 16, 14, go down to 12, 14. This is all in the A. So after those weird slide things, it's altogether it would be very strange, but if you can play that relatively cleanly and quick, it sounds really rad. So this whole part together would be okay. For part 4, it's going to start out on the 18th fret on the G. I'm just going to play the notes first, which are the 19th on the B, 21st on the B, 22nd on the B, 21st and 22nd on the E. Pull off to the 21st. So Now, for this next part, what I do is kind of a sweep and a slide. So what I'm doing here is doing 18, 17, 17 on the top 3 strings. And on the 19th then, I'm kind of sliding that 1 fret at a time up to the 21st. Another way you could do this, I'm not sure which sounds better, is doing, instead of this pattern, you could do 18, 19, 20, and slide up to the 21st. So like, that works too. So, or whatever sounds better to you. But once you're there, then slide back 1 fret at a time from the 21st to the 19th. Pull off to the 17th, 17th on the B, 18th on the G, and then back to the 19th on the E. So it'd be like, that'd be the other way to do it. Basically, you're just getting up to that 20th fret, and then some stuff in the middle before you go back to the 19th. Those are the key notes. So it'd be like, for up until that point, let me get some more gain in here. One other idea I've had with this section is if you listen to the isolated track, there's some hidden notes in there where it sounds like he's sliding up to the 14th, and it sounds like that note's ringing. So you could do it that way too, which is just using the 14th on the B and the E, 16th, 17, and either tapping the 21st and 22nd. That seems a little excessive. Anyway, play around with that section. If you listen to the isolated track, there's some strange ringing going on, which is kind of this combination of he might be holding a note and the delay that he has going on. But I just tend to play it up in this position on the 18th fret. So, whatever works for you. Who knows what the hell he did in real life. Okay, and for this last run, you kind of think about this like an octave up from the 6th position. It's going to be in the 18th position. Same. It's going to be this F sharp minor scale. So it starts off on the 19th fret of the G, 18th on the G, and then it'll be 19th on the D, 18th on the A. So it goes, and basically that's the setup to start climbing the scale. So then we're just going to go directly up that F minor scale. Back to where we started. So then we're going to go pull off to the 18th, go back to the 21st on the D, and then keep going up. And you might hit this note twice on the 22nd. Go back down to the 21st on the G. Keep climbing. He hits this maybe twice up on the 22nd. Back down. And then here my finger's barred off on the 19th fret. And I'm going directly from the 1st string to the 2nd string. And then here comes that bend, which is at the 22nd fret. And you're going to bend that up on the E string and catch the catch the B string under it on the 22nd fret as well. So the scale again, I'm gonna play this really slowly. It's all F sharp minor, but aside from that initial setup, he basically goes directly up, kind of backs down a couple notes, keeps going, backs down a couple notes, keeps going, and then the weird part at the end where when he backs down, he'll hit the 19th on both of them before he does that screamer. So play this really slowly. Again. You can hear on the album he actually just does what I just did, which he kind of misses it the first one and then cranks it the second one, and that's the one he actually catches the second one, or the second string under. So I'm gonna play that again. Again, this is, you could really just rip anything on this scale. It's really hard for me to do on this guitar because it's hard for me to get up into these positions. Other guitars are probably a little bit easier or harder depending on what it is, but you're right up there in that top position, and so it's kind of hard to really smoke in that position with it's a little bit clumsy, but that's where you kind of hear he does it fairly clearly on the album, but he's definitely just cranking it, and that's where he kind of hits some notes twice, and so it'd be something like So there you go. That's the way that I play Heaven Sent. Hopefully you got a few ideas from that. Yeah. Sometimes I play the solo and I don't even know how I play it. I just roughly hit the structures that somehow my brain has defined as it's something around this. And, maybe that's what George Lynch does. I've yet to see him do a live performance where he does exactly what he has done on the album, and there's something to be said for that. You capture that moment and it's there. He gets it on a live performance, he gets it on a studio performance, whatever the thing is, and maybe that's his magic. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. There's my dog barking. Have a good one. I'll catch you on the next one.